Gambia is proud to host the 15th OIC Summit on the 4th and 5th May 2024, the second largest gathering of world leaders, kings, presidents, rulers, prime ministers, along with delegates from 57 member countries of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation will gather in our beloved nation for this historic event. The theme of the summit is enhancing unity and solidarity through dialogue for sustainable development. It's a platform to foster cooperation, promote peace and drive sustainable development across the Ummah and the world at large. We call on all Gambians to unite and support the government as it strives to host a memorable and successful event. Let's showcase our hospitality, culture and the beauty of the Gambia to the world. Join us in making history. Let's stand together, united as one, to ensure the 15th OIC Summit in the Gambia is an event to remember. Together, we can make a difference.
And welcome to the Brunch on Kerfatu Live. I am Lavin Cham, and this is our weekly look at events that happened over the last 7 days in the Gambia. This week, we will start with the ferry crisis, because on Friday, that is, there have been numerous scary postings about the ferry Canilai, which was stranded in the water after running out of engine power. We are told up to Saturday there were people still trapped there, mainly vehicle owners who could not come out of the ferry. Now, does this now mean that the government should, just as the ferry's management did, buy the bullets and withdraw all ferry services until a new one or new fleet is acquired? Well, the ferry service management, that is, have come out with a press release to say that all services have been withdrawn until further notice. Should the government now buy the bullet and buy new ferries? Plus, President Barrow met Banjul Muslim leaders on Koriti Day. He said that the Gambia, it should be noted that the Gambia is, well, maybe 95% a Muslim country, but not a Sharia country. What does he mean, and why are some people not quite happy about that? We will discuss that. We will, of course, go where we left on the change in Senegalese politics. That is the first few days of power of the new leaders in Dhaka. This, plus much more if we can, on the brunch this week. And with me to do that is Professor Momodou Ba, who is an academician and a politician. Welcome, Mr. Ba.
Thank you.
Kejau Touray, now I qualify him also as a writer because he is the chief editor of Namsata, is it? Namasita online newspaper. Kemesseng Sanneh is an activist and a blogger who follows Gambian affairs passionately. He too is with us in the studio. Kemesseng, welcome.
It's a pleasure, thank you.
Good, so now we go straight to the major story of the week. That's just yesterday, Friday. The grounding of the ferry Canilai. We saw pictures, scary pictures to say, and of intervention by the National Development Management Agency and the Gambia National Marine. Together they evacuated all the passengers except those who are vehicle owners. The ferry management said they have now withdrawn all services until further notice. Can I begin with you, Momodou Ba? Very quickly, what are your thoughts about this ferry crisis?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to share my empathy with those who were stranded there yesterday, from the captain down to the last passenger who was evacuated by our able and valiant marine forces, who were able to rescue them from that incident. So I would just like to say that the issue of ferry, first of all, we have to think about what are the type of accidents that it causes. You know, so the type of accidents it causes, among them are the capsizing of the ferry, you know, the sinking of the ferry, the grounding of the ferry, among other incidents. But in this case yesterday, what happened was the ferry was grounded, meaning it was stuck. It was stuck at the sand, that it wasn't able to move. But luckily, the passengers were able to. The passengers were being evacuated by our marine forces. Okay, so now, what are the causes of that? We have to talk about that also. Like the causes, according to the press release by the Ministry of Information, that it was due to mechanical failure. So what leads to that mechanical failure? We could suspect that we can even confirm that they are old ferries. We have old ferries, with old engines, every time on maintenance, upon maintenance, which at this level, we believe that it is high time that the government, take their responsibility in order to buy new ferries and then do away with the old ones. Because if we do not do that, my mind goes to, in history, about the Titanic in 1912, when over 1,500 people died on board from Southampton to New York City, along the coastline, along the Atlantic Ocean. My mind also goes to Battle of Jola, that was just recent, which is just few miles away from where we are sitting here in Kerfatu here, just around the ocean here. That was in 2002, 26 September 2002. And again, in our own country,
this very place,
in
1957.
In 1957, thank you for that. I didn't have that data, but also again in 1984. In 1984 with Lady Chilel, it happened. So when we think of all this and the disaster that it comes with, we cannot rest unless and until we ask the government to do their part. And this is also something that, sends a bad signal about the way the borough government is governing our country. Because I believe that what's happening at the ferry level, the way people are stranded there, that's the way people are stranded at the tourism department. That's the way people are stranded at the agriculture department. That's the way people are stranded at NAWEC. That's the same way people are stranded all over the department of the Ports Authority. So it is high time our government did something in order to bring competency, because all this is also lack of competency, lack of leadership, too much of corruption. These are issues that we definitely have to tackle in order to solve this issue, which is a time bomb.
Okay. Kejau, what are your thoughts on the ferry crisis?
Thank you very much, Mr. Cham, for this opportunity, and thank you, Kerfatu. Hello to my fellow panelists, Mr. Sanneh, Mr. Ba. I think we have to look at the causes of, the issue. I somehow don't want to be insensitive to Gambians, but I think, we're trying to blow this thing out of proportion. Yes, because
where people were scared of lives being lost, you said they're blowing it out of proportion.
Yeah, I think because what happened was there was a mechanical problem. It was not like the water was going into the boat. It was not sinking. Yeah. So it's just a mechanical problem, and then it got drifted by the waves and got grounded in Bunya. Is it Bunyadu?
Bunyadu.
Yeah. So
which is far off course of its
absolutely, but I don't think there was a safety issue here.
There was. The National Management Development had to go there to rescue people.
I mean, yeah, there was a rescue. There was need for rescue. The Gambian Navy went because the people needed to go on and get out and get on to their businesses.
You mean
there was no risk of people's lives being lost.
Great risk to people's lives.
Lives, yeah, being lost. That's what I mean. Safety. Okay. So, but I think apart from that, we need the causes was poor maintenance, obviously, and then these ferries are very old, and as you said, they are. The most of the parts are not available now. So
don't you think lack of engine power can even lead to sinking? Because if the waves are hostile and you don't have control, that can lead to sink. By waves.
When it imbalances.
Of course it can.
Absolutely, it could, but it did not in this situation.
Yeah,
and that's what we're talking.
All the same, the risk is there. The risk remains. People got stranded for hours and hours in water.
Yeah, and then during that stranding, there was no way the waves could push them because they were grounded already.
Yeah, but all the same, they could not go out.
Yeah. So
anything could happen to them in the ferry.
Yeah. So we shouldn't probably dwell on the fact that what could have happened because anything.
No, I find it interesting that people might think you are discounting the seriousness of the issue because people got stranded, and here you are saying that they were not in grave danger.
No, they were not. As you agreed that there was no real life loss risk there.
Of course,
so that part we have to make
but
it
thanks to the intervention of the Marine and the National.
Yeah, and then even if they had been there until today,
there are people still there who own. We were told who own cars and could not leave their cars there.
Yeah, so the fact that you wouldn't have water, you wouldn't have food, probably would be there. But the fact that
somebody could be sick, seriously sick.
Absolutely, those things are there. But you're not looking at the ferry sinking, as this man said. So when it comes to those kind of things, then we have to look at very drastic measures that we could take. But right now, what the government did was the right part. They pulled out the ferry, issued a statement, and so I see so many people talking about Barrows would fire the guy, the ports authority guy. So we have to look at, maybe we have to establish what really happened. And try to make sure that we avoid these things because these ferries are so old and these people are managing them. So the remedies I see that these people they should establish kind of an investigative panel, and they should delve into what really happened and how they could avoid this kind of issues.
But this is what we know. What we know has been mainly in the public domain. That is when the ferry services. Well, we were told that we were even told at the time the minister said in Parliament that they didn't even know where the monies from the drive for the ferries were kept. I think the minister, if I got it right, you were in Parliament, and then there was a management report, finance report, which says they were spending more on the personal enumerations than on maintenance and stuff like that. Recently, we had that even Ports Authority we spend a huge amount of money on mobile phones, etc.
Yeah,
People are arguing that these are the kind of money that should be pumped into maintaining the ferries. But then the fundamental issue remains that there is a need for a new fleet of ferries.
Absolutely, and that's the next point I'm coming to.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah, so when we comes to we need new ferries, and we're not talking about second-hand old ferries that are that the manufacturers are not manufacturing parts for anymore. We need brand new ferries, and the only way we can get those ones are public partnership. Even if it's going to be with Social Security, they should take charge. And just like with the GPTC or GTSC, both services get us very very new services there. So if the Social Security cannot provide the money, then we should look at private partnerships. When you said the minister said he doesn't know where the money is kept because those are operational matters. GPA, I mean Gambia Ferries Services Company is a totally different entity from the government. So he wouldn't know those details. And then people are saying also the mobile phones. When you look at, I think the money that was spent on mobile phones is probably less than $1 million. I'm not discounting the fact.
$1 million spent on mobile.
Yeah, $1 million. So $1 million would probably work with the maintenance, but it will not be able to buy us new ferries.
Yeah, but at least it is one step together. If you spend millions on mobile phones, I mean,
so the issue that we should look at, are the people paying enough money to get across the ferry. Should be because if the private,
of course, we are paying
the private people coming in, what they will ask for is more money. Yeah, when you want to cross, how much do you get charged? $200, $300?
But like you said, you have outlined if government has included the ferry services as a priority area, as they have in other areas, probably the things would have been solved. Right now.
Absolutely. So they didn't probably know until now that there was a big problem there. So there was a reporting issue.
Well, there have always been incidents with the ferries getting lost or maintenance.
Yeah, but it's just in the last 3-4 months that we have real people, even the media, their focus is on the ferries now. Before you will go across and, you have 2 or 3 services there. So maintenance is a problem in Africa. So we have to look at maintenance. When you have 2 ferries coming in, you have weekly maintenance, as we say in the military. They have to have daily maintenance, weekly maintenance, and monthly maintenances, so that it will be sustainable. And the bridging part also, we have to look at ways where we can forgo the ferry out, and get the bridge across.
The solution people said could be to
bridge the thing. Yeah.
And this government had really sounded something around that possibility way back.
Absolutely, and with the help of ECOWAS, I think they are saying some people came in to look at feasibility, and do some studies there, and decentralizing the government. So there are many facets to this thing. They should look at decentralizing the government as well and digitalizing the services.
What would decentralizing the government do with the ferries?
So many people come into Banjul, from
need to come.
They wouldn't need to come.
But business would still be needed to come to Banjul.
Yeah, businesses will need to come, but that will be, like the goods and services. So when you digitalize the economy, people will not come for things like passport, driving license and everything. You don't need to come into Banjul. You can sit at Bunyadu and do whatever you want. When you have government services at your door, you wouldn't need to come.
Yeah, but that does not discount the fact that you will still need to come to Banjul from Bara.
What for? What will you come?
I mean, you might come to Burfoot perhaps. You come to Tanje. You come to. It's not only Banjul. They come to.
To visit. But that will not be like a real need for that. It will just be like, I want to see my.
But Banjul is the ferry. The Banjul Bara serves as a link between
you forgot Senegal as well.
Yeah, Banjul and Bara, and people
you
are
forgot
traveling
Senegal
to Senegal.
Yeah, so Senegal can use the Trans-Gambia.
But again,
like people who live in West Coast region.
Yeah, so all these factors, we cannot discount the fact that all these factors, and the government is trying to look into all these things. I think they are trying their best to be sure. They should have been more proactive when this thing started. They should get the ministers should go inside and talk to these people and tell them to look at their maintenance schedules and all those things.
Like many other things, it is true that the ferry problem's been inherited by this new government.
Absolutely, like money problems that this guy said.
The fundamental issue is what has been done to address it from 2016 to now.
Nothing absolutely.
That is where the problem is.
Nothing.
And we have seen government interventions in so many areas that they are very proud of today. If the ferries, if this thing has been given that much seriousness, probably something would have been done.
Nothing has been done.
What I'm saying is, so we have so many problems in the country. They inherited so many problems. So they have to look at priorities. I think what they did was now that this is in the news, this issue is happening. They are looking into the priority. So they will look.
So in the
this
meantime, cargoes, whether they are foodstuff, medicine, or they just can't come now. Unless by canoe or it has to go through the South Bank.
Through the South Bank.
It's
and
not
the South
the fastest
Bank,
way.
a small country.
But it's not the fastest way to reach Banjul.
No, but Gambia is a small country. You can go across the country in one day.
Yeah.
You understand?
I know it will affect so many things. Ideally, people would have loved to cross. It's much easier and much closer. But then it is also, I think, prudent on the part of the management of the ferries to say, look, because this is what people have always been advocating. Why can't you at some point say, look, this is not safe. Let's put this aside until we can get a new one. Because at least that will save lives and prevent scary situations like yesterday.
Absolutely, but there's always pressure to use these services.
Yeah,
but
where there's risk, I mean, it's your duty to say, look, you know what, we can't manage continue to manage this. They cannot work. Let's stop it until we get a new one.
Yeah, that's what they did now. But they probably came a little bit later. And in hindsight, they probably should have done that. Plan everything
and hopefully, because they said there is a plan. Already there is already
a plan to
new ferry. A new ferry. They talk about
so let
a new ferry is going to be bought.
Let it be a brand new ferry.
Yeah, they said
not
a new
like
ferry
the
is
old
coming.
one, or where Yaya Jammeh and his team went and bought us ferries.
I think I had officially it will be in the next couple of weeks, if I can remember.
Yeah, so exactly. So it looks like the government is trying to remedy the situation.
Yeah.
And they're putting so much effort into it.
No, it's like the issue is that the government is not taking this as a priority.
Yes.
And
Coming to this, I know you don't go to Bara much of the time, but what do you make of this?
Thank you very much. I'm so grateful to be on this platform.
Thank you for coming.
My brothers, Kejau.
Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure to share the platform with you people. It's very unfortunate that such issues are happening after independence 1965. Up to today, we are still encountering the same issues. And government obligation is very clear when it comes to the responsibility of the government, and the constitution is very clear there. They have no other authority but to promote the general welfare of its citizens. And once they fail in that responsibility, they are not fit to govern. That's the number one priority of every government. And public enterprises are designed to provide service, pay dividends to government, and create employment. And once they fail in those three obligations, they are not fit for its purpose.
So the ports is a public enterprise designed by government to provide service for its citizens, and that service are paid by the citizens. They don't give them the service for free. They pay something to get service, and that money should be kept to make sure that there is continuity in that service. Once that fails, that means that the institution has failed. So for me, there is no way that we will not blame the ports for failing its responsibility. And once that is done, government must take a step.
Yes. That's where the issue.
And the issue of it's not serious is serious, number one.
But what kind of steps can they take?
Well, of course.
That's why I'm telling you that there are monies that are paid in
government.
terms of, it's part of government, and there are monies that are paid. In terms of it's not serious, because of life is not lost, doesn't mean that it is not serious.
Yeah.
You know how much revenue do the country lost just yesterday of people that should go to work to provide service so that government will have money from their work. None of those people went to work yesterday because there was not ferry from 8 o'clock. Those who are going to Banjul to report to work at 8 o'clock, none of them go to work and until 6 o'clock. So that means that the whole day, any people that are coming from that part the government has lost in terms of
and the country,
the revenue. You look at people that are families are relying on them. How many people went hunger because maybe some people went and fetch what the family will have eat. They were stranded in the ferry because of the failure of an institution that would provide the service. So it is serious, not because of life is not lost, but also the panicness in the people could have caused hypertension, could have caused people that are having incommunicated
people who are already sick could be on board.
On board.
Indeed.
And we don't have even what we call sea ambulance in this country in terms of emergency. That's why when ambulance is coming from SO areas, if the ferry is not on the other side, the ambulance has to stand and wait. When somebody is there who needs emergency, there should be a sea ambulance provided by the ports. That when it comes, it should not go through that ferry, but the sea ambulance will just come and pick this guy to go. This is how you show how much you care about your citizens. This is about the life of the people that put you into that office. So it should be a number one obligation. But how many times this ferry just 3 weeks or 4 weeks back was under maintenance?
Yeah.
They said it's okay and it's fit for its purpose to go back to the sea. 2 days, 3 days, it has a problem. That shows you the failure of management in terms of doing the proper work that they are at. How many millions have been spent on that? The citizen doesn't know anything because it's a problem in this country for the government to communicate to its citizens. And as far as there's information, there will be no speculation. But if you hide information from the people, you create people to say whatever they are saying. And they are entitled to their objection because they should hold you accountable. So that's why you should come in. But look at even their communication. What was the cause of this thing? Others will tell you that it's the wave, others will tell you that it's the engine failure. So there's a disagreement between the Minister of Information office and the information from the ferry service and information from the Navy.
Yes.
So up to now, we the Gambian people, we cannot solely rely on.
take the ferries.
I believe
they
that,
said engine problem.
I think everybody said engine problem.
It is the ferry service.
But eventually, what happened is what they are talking about. Now we have to talk about the tangible solutions that you will think are supposed to be.
Yeah, but before talking about it,
with government also, there's now they tell you that they are going to buy a ferry.
Yeah.
So that means that there's already a fund.
Yes.
And not only that, every year in our budget we have what we call contingent fund.
Yes.
There's a money that is allocated for emergency purposes. What is more emergency than this issue of the ferry? Why can't you go, since the problem is coming up once, twice?
Many.
Why can't you go to the contingent fund?
Yesterday was the climax.
But why now?
But why now? Up to 6, 7 years, 8 years.
The ferry were not running 2 weeks back.
Yes.
And before that, this problem has been solved. So you need to wait until a disaster is happening.
They inherited the problem.
Yeah. But when you are there, you know, for me, I don't take excuse of people to say that, okay, we inherit. When you are seeking for the office of the people, now, you know that there's a problem.
You promised to.
And you promised the Gambian people that put me into office and I will solve this problem.
So there all the problems on one day.
Yes, I know you
priority.
Exactly. And this
so now
is a priority than this.
It is now, and it's government
freedom of movement of
the president said that
it's a fundamental right.
Yes, you know, recently.
So these are things that are very, very important to me. So now, why not you go to the contingency fund and take it? If there is emergency, because disasters can come, that's why the government decided that, okay, let's have a fund in terms of emergency. But you have 3 ferries that are prime this sea. All of them break down once.
At one time.
That shows you poor management in terms of our government and our institutions. Institutions are designed for a purpose. They are not there to do what they feel like to do and what they should know, when to do it and where. They're supposed to provide the service. Even one day, there should be no loss of service.
Absolutely.
And this has been happening.
In such a way that not all of them.
Once another one is under maintenance, 2 should be running.
Absolutely.
And immediately that one is ready, it comes, the other one goes on. That's why you have 3 ferries. But all those 3 ferries go down.
At one time. Until now you have to close the whole road.
And you are telling people that now you use the Trans-Gambia or use the boat. But how much is the boat charging?
And how safe is the boat?
How safe is the boat? But what is the plan? Because it's the failure of the Gambian Post Authority. So instead of telling people to dip in their pockets to pay high force when it is government responsibility to provide them that service, they should come. In other parts of the world, they will come and say that, okay, within this period of our part, any person we will pay the fee.
Yes, that's not compensated.
That should be the compensation from them. But now a poor person whose salary is $3,000.
I don't know.
A poor person who has $3,000 for his basic salary will pay his kid who is going to school, him who is traveling to go to Banjul everywhere, will buy boat for $100 or $75. The person who carries you pay him $20. The person who drops you there $12. So almost every day $100. Multiply by 30 days. Your entire salary is spent.
The anxiety about people, young people.
So the entire 30,000 is spent on ferries. And how do you feed your family?
Young people.
What is government plan?
Young people crossing to going to school. Remember, there are schools that are fed with pupils from that area.
From Bara.
That's why I'm saying decentralizing the government, digitalizing it.
Well, there are schools in Bara, but there are not people still come to school in Bara.
Exactly. So they should have enough schools in Bara, so nobody will have.
And things are beyond that.
That does not discount the fact that people will need to come to Bara. I think the fundamental issue is what we are approaching now. The competent, we talk about competence and I mean.
So we should start the whole of.
No, not entirely, but there should be competent, far more competent service. Like you can't have all 3 ferries broken down at the same time.
Okay.
There should be a question about that.
Okay,
there should be a question, because even if you have maintenance schedule, you should settle in such a way that at least 2 or 3 would be running while the one is maintenance and then vice versa.
Okay, do they?
So now fundamentally, why don't you think that bridging the place could probably be the solution? And how far do you think this government can go in doing that? How much money do we have?
Or any other solution?
Absolutely. We heard about that. The president made a promise, and they saw us the design.
Yes.
And they also told us that they are talking with contractors or people that are interested in terms of a bridging, and I think that's the lasting solution, because at the end of the day, it's the same revenue that you will be collecting. You could anybody who when the cars are paying. So actually, and it makes movement of people very easy.
And I think that even goes to Lameng.
Lameng, it will fall at Lameng, Mandinari end, around Mandinari end. And I think the quicker we do that, we can, because it's part of the ECOWAS protocol in terms of free movement of people and goods and services. So integration of the continent. So link with them.
It's even an ECOWAS project. That is the Nigeria.
Senegalese, Dakar, Ivory Coast, and Ivory Coast, Lagos.
So I think the moment they start discussing and going beyond Gambia, the discussion should go beyond ECOWAS level to see the need, because Gambia connects so many of these West African countries.
But also, I think you also have to look at the economic activities that it creates. Also, there are laborers who are there always at the ferry service, waiting for people to disembark in order to render some services to them, carry their luggage. Some people are vendors, at the ferry. All those are microeconomic activities that you have to consider, because when the ferry stops, those people also
but then as it stands now,
their economic activities
as it stands now,
stop.
The focus should be the prevention of a loss of life. I think that should be number one thing, because when the ferry gets stocked or the ferry strayed, of course, those kind of things can lead to problems. So at the moment, I think the main focus should be prevention of loss of life, because the vessels are not seaworthy. That's the bottom line.
Yes, and also I'm not in for privatizing the ports, the ferry services. I'm not in for it, because government needs resources, not only through taxes.
But if the government cannot,
it should. The government should. They should able to provide competent services. They should able to provide good leadership. They should also try to tackle corruption. The government, that is the role of a serious government. So you don't have to tell me that, okay, the government cannot this, cannot. What is the type of government that we have? This is the problem.
No, we've seen all over the world, governments are not good at running businesses.
No.
And these are businesses, these are income. They can still get their income.
Key areas that government should not relinquish responsibility.
For running
key areas of the country.
But like this,
for example,
for NAWEC, the ferry services,
health
services, or this should be run for me. My political belief is that it is the government who should run this, as Kek said, to provide, not only to provide services, but also to
Okay.
I think that's a communism
to
way of thinking. The modern way around the world.
I think that's general understanding that the ferries are no longer seaworthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure the management will always come back to say that the Kanilai or the Kunta is back in service. It has been maintenance, but then problem will occur again. So we hope that the new ferry is here sooner rather than later, because that will be the solution.
Absolutely.
Good. Now, as part of tradition, that is, President Barrow met Muslim elders from Banjul. It's called Banjul Muslim, but it's been expanded now. All kind of leaders from all kind of Islamic religion groups come there to State House and they talk frankly. This year, of course, they talked about high cost of living. They were concerned about that. And there are concerned about security, and stuff like that. Okay, the president also addressed them, and one of the key things that came from both the Minister for Religion and the president was that he took issues with the kind of preaching that the Islamic leaders and kind of cautioned them. And of course, to distinguish between the fact that this country may be Muslims, there may be a majority Muslim state, but it is not Sharia. Sharia being, of course, the law that is used in Muslim countries. He said, we have other sets of laws that should be respected, even if we don't agree with them. But we should respect that those are the laws until they are changed. And he cautioned them that when they are preaching, they should distinguish the two. The Minister for Religious Affairs went further to say that, in fact, the government has never wanted to do as other countries do. That is, of course, to license preachers before they can be preached. He said, we don't want to get there. But in other countries, that's what happened. So we should be measured the way we preach to our summons to our congregations. Basically, that's what the president and the minister said.
Yeah.
But there's a certain section of the people in the population disagreed with that. One of them is, of course, Kemesseng Sanneh, Kemesseng Sanneh. Kemesseng Sanneh, with a long piece disagreeing with what the president said or the minister said. But is there anything wrong with that? Because, in the first place, we have seen, we've seen, of course, some preachers who have really
made very incendiary
someone that are believed to be insightful, so to speak. We have seen that also. We've seen in the past others attack other people's faith, and then we have seen the repercussions of that.
Yeah.
So is it not the president's right to say, look, okay, it is good for us to be in order also, so that we don't harm each other's rights, so that we can live in harmony. I think that's what they meant to say.
Absolutely.
Why do you think that? Why do you see anything wrong with that?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's very interesting. Like, this is how we must have divergent views in terms of building the country, and it's good to have this healthy debate. But president has every right to address the religious leaders, but the context and the manner in which you address the situation, people will analyze and talks about it. And before the president will speak, the Minister of Religious Affairs, Ahmed took the podium. Yeah. And we all know what is the debate between the religious leaders presently and the issue of what is before the National Assembly.
Oh, so the elephant in the room is
so we all understand the direction where actually they are going. And there's a separation of power when it comes to the governing of this country. The government, the executive is there to make sure that they enforce the law that the parliaments make. And if there's any disagreement in terms of the laws that is made or the enforcement of the law, you go to the judiciary for the interpretation of that law or to also the punish. So there's totally separation of power. But what we have seen in this government is interfering in the decision of the parliament to impose a law in the people without allowing the democratic process to take its place. And this has evidence when we see the statement of the Minister of Agenda, Children's and Women. They came with a statement.
At the United Nations?
No, even official statement from government.
Yeah.
And they published it and they said they allowing the democratic process, but they are talking to the National Assembly members not to ban, and not to lift the banning of female circumcision. That's interference.
But I mean, they never said they are talking to them to take a position, their position. I think the statement said they want the law men. They want the law
men, and they are engaging. Maybe if you Google, you see that they are engaging the National Assembly.
So the government's position,
and the government position is to make sure that the law
remains.
That's an executive interfering in the legislation.
No. Okay, no.
Let me.
Okay. All right. You said. They want, the government's position is that they want the law remain. But again, you are saying that allegedly they are talking to the MPs to do the same.
Absolutely.
To do their bidding.
Absolutely.
You think that's interference?
Absolutely.
But the MPs are part of the government.
Why do you think?
They have MPP government, the MPs there.
Why do you think they are interfering?
All right. It's very clear in terms of how a law is passed in Parliament. You have what we call the executive bill. That's are bills that are introduced by the executive. There are bills that are introduced by a committee of the National Assembly, and you call it a committee bill. There's also a bill that is introduced by one particular member of Parliament, private members or members' bill.
Like in this case.
And executives are not lawmakers.
Do they propose laws?
It's citizens. Of course, yes, they propose laws.
So they're the main lawmakers in that sense.
It proposed doesn't make a law.
Let's listen to him.
That's why it's called a bill. It's an intention.
Yeah, it's an intention.
It's not a law. It's the parliament who decides. And the parliament is representing the people. Because all of us cannot go and sit down into the parliament. That's why they said each constituency, choose somebody who you trust, has the ability and the competence to speak on your behalf, and make laws on your behalf.
And they come through
But-
political parties,
yes.
including government.
No, I understand.
Let's listen to
And those are the people. That's why they say that, that's why they said 14 days. When you have an intention to put a law before it, you have to gazette it for 14 days.
Yes.
For public opinion.
Indeed.
And these people did that. Our religious leaders, people, they look at it, interpret it in the way of their religious belief, that, okay, maintaining this law, it look like it's against our culture and our and they have a voice. They go to their summons to convince their people to talk to their National Assembly members. And even government does that when they have an intention of
they
a
come
bill.
and defend.
Exactly.
When they have an intention of a bill, they will go to the public.
now.
No, they go to the public and tell them that we have this intention and we want National Assembly members to support that, our poll, so that we can implement this thing.
No, that's why government have whips.
No,
Listen to me, you have your.
so that's how it is. That's the democratic process. You should not interfere in those things. Allow the people to go and decide if they say that they. So for us, it means that its government is now trying to impose a law on the people, rather than around a democratic process. Because if the law is before the parliament and you tell us that it is our position that this law must be maintained, you are not allowing the democratic process. If you believe you should not, because you are representing everybody in respect of, that's why they said everybody is equal before the law. For you only have an intention, but how the fate is the people to decide that law. So allow that democratic process, let them go to and Almame Jibet has did that, taking this bill to the parliament, and it's been debated, but we could have seen the angle of all of them, speeches from ministers, we see them. That should not have come.
So their position is that
They already saw their position, so for that means that they have already taken side.
They should.
And that's not,
They are
but how democratic.
Have they not taken side in other bills too? Openly coming and wanting the MPs to do their bidding.
Governments do.
For example, they've been accused of interfering to kill the Constitution bill.
Exactly. And we didn't hear him say these things.
I said that was wrong. And I said that I was on record to say that the bill failed because of few individual interests and the influence that because there are some sections, only 3 sections, you throw the entire Constitution.
Okay.
And I even blame the National Assembly members for not allowing the
let's
committee.
Come to the specifics.
So,
when he said,
yes, we
this
know that
country is not Sharia.
We was right. That. And President Barrow is very clear that religious leaders has never demonstrated or said anywhere that Gambia is a Sharia law. This is why they accept, because if they believe that Gambia is a Sharia country, then Sharia law must be implemented. Because in Sharia law, when you steal, they should cut your hand. Which Imam have said that, and we have seen so many. We have seen the democratic process where thieves will be taken to court, prosecuted, because we believe that this is a secular state. We have seen fornication happening in this country. Imams have never said that, let's stone this person to death. Exactly. Because that's what the Sharia says. There is no Imam that says so. So they are not saying that Gambia is a Sharia. So that's very clear to the president. There is no, he could have pointed out which Imam said that Gambia was a Sharia state.
But the whole probably must have seen that.
Yeah.
The way they are interpreting and delivering the sermon, they probably are really leaning onto the possibility of imposing
Sharia law
unofficially. For example, tomorrow they might say that, okay, in fact, all these thieves should have been taken and have their hands cut.
Exactly.
It could get there if he doesn't
weigh
in to say, let us temporarily go down. Or they could say, the
Ahmadiyas will not be Muslims.
Whoever is, that's right, that's another clear point.
Exactly.
Whoever is worshipping this faith cannot be counted as
Gambian.
No, maybe Gambian, but it cannot be shaped. So, in other words, President might be concerned that look,
we're going
religious preaching might go into something else.
But you have seen the peaceful coexistence between the Christians and the Muslims. You could see them, embracing each other, just not feeling.
And your imams are endangering
that. Those things, serving each other, nanning bulls and other things. And so there's nowhere that the imams believe that Gambia is a Sharia state. But we all know, sometimes you don't need to go direct for people to understand where you are going.
So this is the FG.
Yeah, I understand. So it's all about that.
Let's deal with the elephant in the room. Yes. You believe that all this is part of your suspicion that the government, including the president, is really how to call it, intimidating the lawmakers or let's say interfering for this law to remain.
For public to be quiet about
But he didn't talk about the lawmakers.
Let's go to the technicalities of the bill. People said if it gets to second reading, it seemed that it looks like that definitely bill
It's going to pass.
Will pass.
And it's
It
against
look like that.
It's against the anti-torture treaty that we have.
Because
So what are the chances from your experience?
Yes, I was in the parliament when the bill was.
What are the chances of the bill's fate now?
Yes, almost 4 people have spoken.
Against
because
it, yes.
They all said that the bill must be repealed. Almost 5 spoke. 4 all
Out of 57.
Yes,
that's still a long way. Maybe others can come.
Others can come.
They are
but so far
scared.
the trend. So we see that Alaji S. Dabo came up and proposed that the bill to be committed to a committee so that there will be a research. And that's a parliamentary process. That a first reading, when you do that, the second reading, you discuss the general merits and the principles of the bill, and you commit it to a committee for a thorough investigation to invite subject matter specialists, people who are affected. And I think that will broaden the whole understanding about this issue. It's not that the female circumcision actually is part, when you look at the debates, what we are having in our social medias and other things, nobody is saying, they say the way we are doing it, that is what is not properly done, and it causes harm to the people. So with this opportunity, we can have a discussion. And we might come with a solution. How should it be done that will not affect anybody? But the issue is not that it's bad.
But the issue has been, if you understand the activist point of view, whether you call it FGM or whatever name, their problem is nobody should ever be caught. That's it. That's the issue.
Without their consent.
Without their consent.
Yeah.
That's their issue.
Yeah, because that's international law.
So this twaddle about it is the manner how it is does not count as far as their
Exactly.
But
So that's where it is.
their debate, we need to understand that parents also have a responsibility when it comes to our
harming their children.
Absolutely. When you said harm, I will disagree with you.
So
because how will you convince somebody who have passed through this without experiencing any harm? You tell that this is harmful.
Well, you're not the
So
one.
now,
You're not being female.
in other words,
I've taken my take.
in other words,
Let the girls come and talk about it.
in other words,
And
now,
I've seen people who have
this
testified,
matter.
they
This
reach out
matter,
to me
this
and tell me
matter
that
has
I'm not
been
being
this
affected.
matter has been raging,
Yes.
and the government has been silent, so to speak.
Exactly.
So in other words, now
They are coming out now. They're being a government.
from the cold now and making their position stand. What do you think would be the reactions of people like you and the imams? Have there been any reaction yet?
No, for that's why we
The
said
Islamic leader, because
they made it very. They said,
the president was there with the Islamic Council were there, well represented, and they are the ones who issued a fatwa.
but they said they are very.
So what did they say there? When
They said
they didn't reply to the
They
president.
said they will not go against any law if it is passed through the democratic process.
And that's what Imam Fatih
that's
is
their
trying to
position.
do
That's
now.
their position.
So
But
they-
once it has been debated, they want everybody to stay calm. The
Calm.
government should not interfere or anybody, or there should be no
Maybe the
pressure
president,
from outside.
the government is worried
For them,
that-
they want people to otherwise they to go and talk to their camp. These people to go to their camp. They decide the decision to the parliamentarians what they will decide, and whatever they decide, they will accept it. But what they will not accept is for people to interfere to impose a law on them.
So
This is the issue.
when have you become spokesman
For the Islamic
That's like
is leaving.
Okay, well, I see your point.
Tradition,
Well respected.
Yeah, so-
But so it looks, in their view, the president is interfering with the process instead of
They
leaving
feel like
it.
executive is
The president
interfering.
believes.
Who? According to whose view?
The president believes in
According to
democratic
Ket's
process.
view and probably Doi.
But probably he feared
No,
that
I'm
this,
not here for that.
But probably he feared that this the way it is going, the parliamentarians are really going to they're going to repeal this bill.
Absolutely.
That's his fear. So you, according to you, he's now interfering.
No, okay. You will see because when ministers don't issue statement without a parliament discussion, and once they do that, that means that the entire parliament agree on this thing. That's why they have.
You mean cabinet?
Yeah, cabinet. Yeah. They do cabinet. Sorry, they will go and have cabinet meeting on every Wednesday. I think in the Gambia. Or
Thursday.
Yeah. They will go and have a cabinet meeting and discuss issues that they want to address. And once they came with any statement of it, becomes a cabinet position. So, and we see the statement from the Minister of Women's Affairs. That means that the position
Yes, the person of government, obviously.
And cabinet constitute the executive. And that's what I'm telling you, that there's a total separation of power. This is why they say that, like, if the president appoints somebody, if you go to the court and you tell him that we want you to
rescind
this decision, they will tell you that we cannot do that because the power is in the president to appoint. But we will look at the procedures that
whether
he
the
took,
appointment is right
or not. That's why when Yakumba was sacked, Yakumba said 4 days should not be swearing. He passed an injunction. The court said we don't have that. The president because there is total separation of power. No one should interfere in the other's work. That's what is happening. So if the parliament is doing, since they have taken the democratic process, and that's what they said. They said president said either it's a good law or a bad law, it must be accepted. But the constitution also empowers you that any law that you feel that it is bad, you have the power to go through the democratic process and remove that. That's why the president himself, when he came into power, he found out that the upper age limit was a bad law that restrict people from their right to exercise, to be voted and to be voted for. He went through his minister and they removed the age limit through my party. So is my party first went and the vice president went and they removed it because the first one when my went it was no due process. So if you are doing that because you feel like, then the citizens too have a right that if they feel like this law is bad, they have a right to go to the parliament. It's left to the parliament whether it will accept it, but you should not interfere because you here is the referee. That any law that is passed, you enforce the law. So, but if you are taking in the process of making that law, that means you are interfering, and that's the problem that we are having. So we didn't say that whatever happens, we want to accept it because we are law-abiding citizens, and there is no imam that has violated this law. That's why when Ahmad Ba went further to say that if you violated it, which imam have they prosecuted? From the 1981 coup d'etat, you have never heard that any imam has participated in a coup d'etat. When Jammeh was coup d'etat in 1994, you never heard it. The student demonstration, you never heard any imam interfere. There's no political affairs but when it comes to their religion, they have a voice because they are our religious leaders. So when religion is threatened, they have the right to speak. So should you seize that freedom of expressing your concern? That's a freedom. And strive in the constitution that you have the right to speak to your government.
The government also have a right to speak to its MPs.
I mean, he's so passionate and speaking strongly. There's a strong feeling among the imams that the process should be left with the parliamentarians to its logical conclusion, and the president should not intervene. But you think the president is actually don't you think this speech have now made him in direct confrontation with the how do they call the ulamas or
because I see Imam Fadi, he even responded immediately after.
Oh, he responded.
He responded to
because they were talking to him. What did he say?
Yeah, he said that he will send Ahmad Ba to go back to the history and tell people that whether they have ever take part or cause any fitna that he is saying, because there is that fitna word. So automatically, whether there is any religious leader that because he said that they cannot cause fitna here, and they will lancing people how they will preach. Let them come with that law to lancing people, whereas the freedom of expression, and when they are going to their mosques, who do you determine should speak when a entire community believes that you are
said all that.
Yeah,
but he also said that.
All right. Now, let's go to the point. Is the president not right in dropping a hint that we should not take the country as a Sharia state?
Yeah,
fine. We may be 95% Muslim, but our laws are not Sharia. He said that. Probably he is apprehensive that the way some people are preaching, they might get into a problem where there will be conflict along those lines.
Absolutely.
But isn't it also not valid that if it is the FGM thing, he comes directly and addressed issue. But is he not interfering also with the parliamentary process by trying to use how to call it, trying to bend and avoid the issue and come around it to say, well, the law must be respected until it is repealed.
No, absolutely. I think he was right. I think they are being responsible government. A responsible government will not sit down and see people talking on the media that even if because what happened was Imam Fati went onto air after the debate to say that even if these MPs refuse their bid to repeal this law, he is going to gather. He's going to make a call and gather people at one place, and one day and circumcise everybody. That's what he said.
He said, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he said that, and he heard it. So that is direct confrontation with the law. You are telling people that I am going to disobey your law. You know, and the fact that he went to this place, what's it called again, into when TRR, when the people were being circumcised and paid their fine.
No, they were prosecuted. They were
prosecuted, yeah. And then he came out to say that, you know, so those kind of things. That's where
But anybody can fine for anybody.
Absolutely, but now these people are saying that because when they're advocating for this law, what they are saying is, you know, this is an Islamic thing, which is not right. You know, this is an Islamic thing and we're an Islamic country. That's why the government is being responsible. People were saying, where is the government in all this?
Yes.
Where are the political parties in this? Yes. They are all hiding. DOI is hiding. UDP is hiding. You know, all the other political parties, the Europeans went to UDP and they talked about this issue, but they're not even telling us what the UDP's point is. Because they are scared. It's not interfering. You know, no.
But before it became a bill in Parliament, they were still silent. It was going, the debate was going.
Exactly, because they are scared.
I think I agree with him that the politicians
should have come out.
The politicians have always been shy.
Of course,
that must be said. To make their position public.
I've not been shy of saying my position either.
So what's your position?
Until now, for example, President Barroso had never addressed the issue.
Exactly.
It's a law.
But now it's become a point.
But that's even before the
there's already a law.
Yeah.
And the law is saying that speaking or encouraging anybody to do that, you will be fined.
Yeah, that's true.
That means you are violating the law.
So Imam Fati is doing that.
So the law it goes.
That's why they are questioning. Now they are being a responsible government. That's why they are trying to come and questioning them. Because they could have gone and arrested him.
Okay, I think it's my turn.
No, I haven't finished. No. So when he's talking about separation of powers, you know, we have all these MPs. You have NPP MPs in Parliament, and then they have whips. Government whips that should go into these MPs and talk to them. So that's what they are doing. They are being a responsible government, and because of these actions that they are doing now, you know, I'm trying to incline to them now because, you know, we don't want a government who will be intimidated by religious fanatics, and these people are taking a course whereby they are trying to put a stop to what is happening. Because if these people manage to stop this FGM. You know, they want to introduce FGM in this country. The next minute they are going to go after Ahmadiyas.
No. You are speculating. That's speculating.
And that's why they are saying that we should.
You are speculating.
No, that's true because they have started it already.
No.
Okay,
they have started the debate already.
That's one point.
And you know, and when they are talking about, when they are not cautioning the MPs, nobody talked about the MPs. They are cautioning the imams who are trying to break the law, and it's their government. It's the government's duty. It's not even, you know, a right. It's a duty on them to come out and talk about it. And that's what they have done.
So are the government coming under pressure from, for example, the United Nations?
Obviously they will come under pressure on those ones.
Stuff like that. People who call them progressive nations.
No, because United Nations experts, few days ago, they issued that this is against the anti-torture treaty that we've entered into.
So the government...
We have entered into international laws to say that we're not going to torture our girls. We're not going to torture our women. We're not going to discriminate our women. Now, what these people are doing, what these imams are doing is, you know, they had no right to issue a fatwa on this. This is beyond, this is law. It has nothing to do with religion. That's why they are saying that 95% may be Muslims, but this is not a Muslim, this is not a Sharia country.
So in other words, the president might be indirectly referring to the fatwa.
Of course he's talking about those fatwa. The fatwa is wrong. They shouldn't have issued it. They should have just stick to what they are doing. Some of the imams are coming out to say, you know, there's no basis for this. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not take his, you know, the grandchildren to Sunnah. So why should we say it's religion? And why should we have a fatwa? They invited those people to come in.
From Arab. They came on some scholar.
No, they came. They invited.
But not the Supreme Islamic Council.
No, not the Supreme.
No, but some of the Islam. Of course, some of the people.
Well, those people probably knows what those people are going to say, so they invited them to.
No. It was one of the imams. It was one of the imams who came in, and then they had a problem. They had this thing, and then they're saying it's not Islamic. This is what governments should be doing. So when you have whips, the DOI people, maybe they have a whip and they're talking to their parliaments. They're all quiet. Everybody's quiet, but this government is coming out to say, listen, you know, we are a responsible government.
You have a whip in the parliament itself. It becomes a member. Suleiman Sow is the whip for UDP.
Exactly. Who is the whip for Doy?
You have this guy. No, it's only the majority and the minority.
No. Every party should have a whip.
I'm talking about the parliament. Internally, those people can convince. That's why you have.
Okay, so that's beside the point. But that's beside. But
I'm not saying an out.
This is not a. This is what they will.
That's what I'm
now
saying.
when these people put it into law, it will come into Adama Barrow, and he has to sign this into law. That is when he says he's not going to sign it, that is going to be interference, and he has all right to do that. And that's what is public, because these people, what they are trying to do now into their cabinet, we have intelligence. No, let me just make my point.
It's still a
what they are,
even he didn't sign it can be a law.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that what these people are trying to say now is okay, because all the medical experts are saying this is not. It's FGM now. They are people, we cannot control them. They are cutting it into such a way, they are sealing it, they are sewing it. You understand? So what they're trying to do is now, okay, let's make it whereby only elderly, when you have to reach 18 to give your consent, so that it becomes in line with international law. Apart from that, also it has to be done by medical, But we know that these people, even now, some of them they're taking their kids to this, so it's not being responsible, So yeah,
Professor, what has been your position on this? The debate, the private bill brought by Almami, and of course the president's statement, which many people classified as to be referring to FGM and the position of the imams on the FGM.
Yeah, the president's statement that this is not a Sharia country, I think that is correct, and we all are unanimously in line with him on that.
Absolutely.
And also not only that, but the right of the minorities should also be protected and should be also put into consideration. However, it is clearly when you listen to your debate, you know that this is an extra time of the FGM FC debate, female circumcision debate. So it is an extra time. Okay, and in this extra time, the government is trying to be defensive. The government is trying to be defensive. It's like you are playing a defensive match, football. You are playing a defensive match, and you refuse to take shots. And you say you don't have to take. The opponents don't have to launch, long-range missiles, shots. The government must take shots.
Thank you. And that's what they're doing now.
Listen to him, Kejau.
This is democracy. I did not agree with Imam Fati when he didn't want to accommodate the Ahmadiyya Muslim community.
Absolutely.
When I say didn't, because that was in the past.
We all
in the 90s.
Okay.
Even me.
So, because these are a community that invest a lot in education, in health, and in so many developments concerning the country, and they are also citizens.
Right.
So I'm not with him on that. Again, I'm not with him on the issue of this FGM. My position and the position of the Afro movement is very clear. The law has been here, and we have to maintain what has already been here.
It's a good law.
Because it is something, I'm not going to say whether it is good or bad. What is clear is that it is not obligatory upon us. So it is not a relevant issue, definitely, that we should really concentrate on to talk about, while there is this high cost of living, insecurity, and so many issues that we have to debate about. That is our position.
I think what makes it now
Yeah.
unavoidably
Yes.
unavoidably a major topic is when people get prosecuted.
Yes. And we had the first prosecution back in November.
Because the law was here since 2016.
Yes.
But you see, nobody was bothered
Yes. Until
prosecution started.
that was at the latter part of
that's where
2023.
But then, of course, if you have a law, it has to be enforced.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, no.
So an Imam
For me,
Fati
No,
went to-
listen.
I really don't want to concentrate much time on that. My position is clear. I still want this law to be maintained, not to be repealed. And this is my position, and this is the position of my movement, my political movement. Okay? But also, what we are saying is that there must be a debate. I've once said this, during the
But
dialogue.
do you believe it is a religious?
No, he said.
No, this is a debate that I really don't want to come back again.
Oh,
I think we've said it already on so many
He said
issues.
it's optional.
Yes, according to Islamic scholars, it is just optional. It is not obligatory upon us. So something that is not obligatory, you don't have to waste too much of energy in really discussing about this, while there are other priorities that are there lying waiting for us. This is what I'm just trying to say. Okay, so now what I'm just saying is that it is something that we need to debate. The reason why we need to debate it, the French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau once reminded us that it is better to debate a question without solving it than to solve it without debating it.
Go, Professor.
You get that point?
Yes.
So we have to debate it, and then if we agree on it, and then now we can, whatever the majority decides, that is democracy.
Absolutely.
And definitely we are going to be in line with it.
So until that happens, nobody from either side should comment on it.
No, they should debate. They should debate. But in debating it also,
Should not take position.
Debate to take a position. That's what debate is.
the president,
It's a parliament that debates.
the president, and
Everybody.
the Minister of Lands and
Religious affairs.
Religious Affairs, which is so unfortunate. Your first communication with the members of your department, with the area that you are overseeing, your first communication becomes a threat to them. I think that is something that is absolutely unimaginable and unnecessary, unimaginable, unthinkable.
Responsible.
So you mean
So he went confrontational
with the imam?
with the imam at the first beginning.
His very encounter with
at
them.
the very encounter with them, which is deplorable.
I see.
Which is deplorable. Okay.
It's responsible.
So now, Imam Fati, no matter what, he's an imam. As he said, he has the right to defend the position of his community, particularly the community that made him a leader. So the way President Barrow and the Gambia government should know that the way Mali has their Imam Diko, the way Senegal has their Ustaz Omar Sall, this is the same way they should accept that the Gambia also has their Imam Fati.
But they shouldn't break the law.
No, listen to Kejau. Listen to him.
Yeah, who should be also given the right of freedom of speech to able to debate what the members of his society are complaining about. This doesn't mean that we are necessarily in line with what he's defending. This is my point.
You think, like ministers suggesting that we don't want to get to places, examples like places where you have to license, the preachers have to be licensed. You think that's unnecessary? That's unnecessary?
No, I don't think that's necessary. That one he went too far. No, he couldn't have. Because what he should have said is, he should have addressed the fact that imams should not encourage people breaking the law.
Yeah, and stop there.
Yeah, and stop there. But now, what he's trying to, because I haven't seen any country where preachers are supposed to be licensed. Supposed to be a free country.
In areas, far remote areas, and
no, in Egypt.
No, I know imams. I know imams. They have to license them.
Yes, in Egypt. In Egypt.
I know imams. They have to license them, but not the
people who are
preachers.
making money out of the people, so they want to now. There's not, a situation where, your knowledge is not questionable, but there are some imams that will just create a comment and say,
Yeah.
people start giving.
So imams can be licensed, but not the
Put it
preachers.
in your own pocket and all that.
Yes, but also something that we
like pastors who will
yeah.
So a place like Turkey, imams, you have to go through a special school,
Yeah.
and they have a community, and they have a regulation, they have a body, just like Islamic Council. But the preachers, they can say whatever
but
they
in
want.
Islam, like he said, hardly the imams talk controversy or fitness.
yes,
So, but
yeah,
in this
but-
instance,
the word fitna
in this
and the-
instance, Imam Fati was trying to bring fitna. When he said that he was going to Ghana, if these people refuse to do what he wants, he's going to gather people and cut them.
No, not necessarily fitna, but he's been defiant
Of the law.
concerning. But that is his democratic right. That is his
No. You have no right to break the law.
That is his democratic right.
Defiant is a violation of law.
No, let's come to the cut. Okay, we agree.
So that's not his right.
But also, just to end with this, just imams also shouldn't use their pulpit, in settling scores with each other. That could be a source of fitna. Not that
Fatih.
Honorable Ba is accusing of them of being fitna. That is not the thing that we have to point out. But what we have to point out, like imams using the pulpit, to throw stones at each other.
Not only that, I think the minister was trying to insult each other. I think the minister was trying to.
Because that's what they did.
Yeah. For that, we have to denounce that. I think that is not correct.
What I could digest from the thing is that the government has for the first time come out to make their position clear on the issue of FGM.
And they should be
most people expected them to do this a long time ago.
Yeah.
However, according to
Keks,
people from the school of thought of Keks and the imams, he should not have done at this process when the process is going through legislation process in parliament, because him being a very powerful influencer when it comes to legislation, his speech could have an effect on the way the parliamentarians may behave at the end of the day.
That's what they should have done.
All right, I can understand that also. Maybe the way the president and the minister handle it may have gone too far.
No,
like mentioning Sharia and fitna perhaps is uncalled for. Especially we are heading to the Islamic Organization Cooperation Summit. The last thing we want is a distraction bordering on Islamic something. So that is why I don't think it would be prudent even for the imams or presidents to come back to this issue again.
No, they should leave it go.
They should have just left it go. Yeah, let's leave it like that.
That's why
let's leave it. Let it go. No, let's leave it now.
I'll give you.
So leave it. Let it go.
The first intention, I will not mention the name. But because of the government executive interference, the first person who intend to table the bill before the National Assembly have to change his position, because he's part of the ruling government, to withdraw his bill. He went up to an extent that he drafted it from the NPP camp.
Who? Al-Mame?
No, not Al-Mame. Before Al-Mame, somebody from the NPP camp drafted this thing and went and table it to the office of the clerk for it to be tabled before the National Assembly from an NPP camp.
That's responsible government.
Government has to interfere. When the government interferes, he has to withdraw. That's why Al-Mame came in.
That's responsible.
Okay, all right. Now,
so UDP MP started it first. That guy from he started talking about it first. So
you mean I know about Suleiman Sow of Senegalese.
So UDP must have talked to him as well.
I think Suleiman still holds it. I think Suleiman still holds it.
But he didn't put it into parliament. So now we have a rogue party like an APRC.
Order of the day. That a motion for a discussion of honor, like it happens when there is too much of killing. There is a law in parliament that
this law was put into effect by the APRC government.
I think we have an understanding that probably the government was right in coming up with a stand on this matter. Of course, the bit about Sharia and fitna, that may not have gone down well with the Islamic speakers. Maybe that's uncalled for, unnecessary, those kind of expressions. And they might even be justified, but maybe uncalled for at a time like this when we are hosting something bearing on Islam. So let's leave the matter now here. I hope that the government and the imams will not start reacting to each other. I hope it died down.
Yeah, so
and that's where we will also end
it here.
That topic on that. Let's go back to Senegal. The new government has now assumed power, and they are now facing the realities of governing a country called Senegal. How are they coping? Professor, very quickly, how are they coping? We've seen them exchanging powers. That's right. For the new people are taking over from the old guards. How have they coped for the last 7 days or so since they've been in power? It's not been 2 weeks now, isn't it?
Yeah, closely 2 weeks now. I think they are doing very well. You know, the first thing that His Excellency President Bassirou Faye did was to appoint his brother, you know, his friend Ousmane Sonko, as the head of the government. So right now, this government, you call it the Sonko government, because the Prime Minister
leads the government.
Leads the government. So that is the first thing that they did. And now he ordered also, you know, all the members of the government, newly elected government, which is a government that is very laudable by the people. You know, at least it has a wide acclamation from the public that this is, you know, it is a true government that, you know, the people were really expecting. You know, it didn't have much.
It has a notable absenteeism in terms of the political players who back the pastor. They are not in the list of the ministers.
Yes, he said it previously during the campaign. He said that this is not a country, like our country is not a cake that we should share among us. We can only appoint you when you are qualified, when you are able, and when you have a clean track record. You know, these were some of the criteria that he considered. But also, you have to remember that, you know, he cut the ministerial positions to 25, which
from how many?
From 39.
Oh, so Macky Sall had 39 ministers.
Yeah, so he accumulated other. He
sort of merged
other ministerials.
Okay. Is that to cut costs?
Yes,
that's responsible.
Yes, that's also, you know, that was also part of his engagement, his campaign promise. You know, that he was they fulfilled in that government. So what also they've also asked the ministers who have positions, who held ministerial positions, to, you know, to resign from their previous position, because in Senegal there is an accumulation of positions. Like you can be a mayor.
Yes, some can be mayor,
yes, at the same time.
And National Assembly, or even a minister.
A minister, or MP, a mayor. So he has asked them to prioritize their ministerial position, because there is a huge job that is waiting for them. And the first notable act also was that, you know, he welcomed the financial investment bodies. You know, that's what the first, just at the end when he did his took oath of office. The first act he did was to invite a president of World Investment Forum, you know, to talk to him about the economy of the country and how to accompany him, you know. And also, you know, they've also recently I've read from the press that he was able to accumulate 324 billion CFA, which is equivalent to $32.4 billion.
What's that money for?
In terms of, you know, finances, in terms of finance, public finance.
From where?
From investors, from people.
Chinese.
You know, because like previously, during this political unrest, you know, the financial partners were not responsive.
There was uncertainty. Now there's confidence returning.
Now there's confidence. So he has already.
Yeah, because he made pronouncements that scared some investors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so he has already mobilized a huge amount of money that will be able to allow them to move ahead.
Okay. All right, they're still staying in hotels. That's kind of people are curious. You know, why they stay in hotels?
Yeah, just like here, you know, during the presidency, you know, at some point you don't have you don't have that.
Barrow first stayed at tough estate in Burfoot.
Yes, and then later on to
the vice president's residence.
Yes, so they do that because, like, you
do they have to repent the palace, or
not only that, because as a president elect, you know, yeah, you need to renovate.
You need to juju nice it.
Halifa Saleh put it sanitized. Halifa Saleh said sanitize State House before Barrow could move it.
Exactly.
So that's
only jujus.
Yes, you need
well, nobody talk about it. You sanitize the place.
you need to disinfect the place. You know.
Hey, don't say I was infection there. that's why the APR man told me this one is positive.
So Macky Sall, even Macky Sall, before he joined the palace, it took him almost 6 months.
It was what the British call check. What do they call checkers? Checkers. The Prime Minister leave now, he go to checkers.
Okay. Yeah.
And because they are no longer ordinary people, they can no longer stay in their.
I had the argument,
their
but
hopes.
People who came into their defense said, after all, those hotels are state-owned. So they are not wasting in taxpayers' money. They said the hotels they are staying in are state-owned hotels, or state has shares at least. So it means that they are
that's so how much the Senegalese people are ready
these people do.
Ready to put accountable their government. They did not just put them there just to for them to loiter around, but they are there for a particular reason. Yeah.
So yes, their cabinet doesn't have some of the key players that back them in the politics. We see that, so they go more for technocrats, yes. and there does not seem to be many disagreement or discontent among the people who supported them. I think he met them, the Pastef coalition, the coalition Jamai. He met them somewhere, and explained to them the rationale behind.
But it becomes the kind of an insult, telling people that we're choosing people who are more competent than you, and who are clean record, as he said. Those people gave everything to you.
But they set out
now
those
you're
boundaries.
bringing people
they set
in.
out those criteria before they come to.
It's like babun walk and monkey chop.
All right. So far, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. They're still shaping up, I'm sure. But didn't they also talk about people who might have allegedly stole, property, government property or money should work on a mechanism to return it?
Yes, that's also part of their strategy in order to recover some of the lost funds.
But would anybody admit stealing?
Yes, like what they are doing is some people also have undercover assets. They own companies, they own businesses, and then under the name of different people. So this is what they are calling la reddition des comptes, meaning you denounce like those people who know, who have knowledge about
people who might have intelligence.
Yes, they come.
Mr. Cham is skipping something.
Yes, they come and denounce it. They come and report it. If they report it, they will have a particular share.
Or they can keep some.
Yeah, they can keep some, and then they have, so that they just want to recover. Yeah,
so they want to use the carrot first before the whip.
Yes, they just want to take that opportunity to recover as best as they could.
Kejau, how did you see Pastef? For me, I will come to that. I believed in many respects they look like Doi to me, and I have started telling people, you see. The ideology Gambian people reject is what the Senegalese have embraced, because by and large, for all intents and purposes, there's a lot of similarity between them and Doi, even though some politicians started saying they might be different. How do you see their approach?
I think it's similar to Doi, my old party, in the fact that people like Sidia Jatta has come out saying that we should reject AIDS. We should not take money from the Tobacos, and their anti-French, anti-colonial stance. But these people are giving you money to help, run your country.
With conditions.
Yeah, with conditions, of course. If someone give you rent, their money,
but you must appreciate that the French system is completely different, more dominant and assimilative. They are more greedy in terms of getting back from their former colonies.
No, because they put in more. The more you put in, because what happened is now the rubber has hit the road. You cannot tell people that we have to reject what from the Gambia here. Most of our money is coming from the West as grants, as loans, as free money. That's how we're running the government.
It's not sustainable. That's why
we couldn't buy
the ferry.
But you have to find solutions So those problems first.
Have we found that? The new Senegalese leaders are finding...
No. Now the reality hit them. You can use that to get people, popular, because people have anti-French sentiments, they have anti-colonial. You can use that to get votes. But when you're inside government, the reality comes into play. Now you have to create jobs for the 20% of Senegalese, that are not employed. Now you have to provide skills to people who are not skilled. Now you have to deliver the economy that Macky Sall has started delivering. You have to find ways to do those things. When you're saying anti-French, who are you trying to invite in? That's what I'm asking him. Who gave you the money? It must be the French, the Chinese, or the Russians.
Sorry, that's not the only way to have.
So you mean they are replacing one power?
Of course, we know that, and this power might even be better for you because of the historical link that you have, because of the support they have given you,
because of the looting.
Exploitative reasons. Exploitative reasons, you have to abandon them.
No, because you have money
And
now because they have oil. Now because Senegal has oil.
Well, they are bound to have oil now, isn't it?
Yeah, they are trying to explore oil.
Are there.
Even those ones, they have Senegalese. Most of those people were total. The Senegal French companies are there. Now, what these people are trying to say is that we're going to renegotiate those contracts again. So because
they are not in the interest of the Senegalese people.
No, they are in the interest of Senegalese. The only thing that they said was they wanted us, the Senegalese, the oil producers wanted to satisfy the foreign market first, instead of the Senegal. But the Senegal government stood and said, no, we're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. You're going to satisfy our local market first. And then they agreed.
Like the new leaders the
old leaders. Yeah. So now what these people are trying to do is they're going to replace these people with their own cronies, the people who were giving them money. The people who could give them money and support.
But I've never known anybody who supported Pastor financially from abroad.
No, because that's what they're saying. But
I don't think
we know that the people who are giving them the money are mainly the Senegalese who bought into the fact that the
they call them Petros. I'm not known about any foreign power supporting them.
People are asking now who gave them so much money.
No, they are
the people. For instance, the first action they did was renew the energy. The contract of some energy mining people. That's what they did. So what was the relationship with those people?
No, maybe those are the ones who gave the best offer.
That was not the reason why the
best offer.
Who knows? Let them come out and say. A government should come out and openly say. And now we must say that that's what this government is saying. So if what I'm trying to say is now the reality sinks in. Cheap propaganda is out of the way. You cannot tell people, okay, let's get rid of the Senegalese, the French, without providing jobs for your people, without providing. So we have to take our time. We have to be grateful to our partners, those who were supporting us when we needed them, and then find ways to independent.
I think they are not under any illusion that it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
Now, the one point they did was the smaller government. Mm-hmm. They had produced smaller government. That is a very important thing, and that is what we need. Is because the government can waste so much money, they can have so much inefficiency. So bringing all those ministries into one is something that almost all governments should do. Even here now, with Gambia government, what they're trying to do is they're creating so many ministries, and all those ministries will have new staffs. They're creating so many agencies. That is enlarging the government instead of shrinking it. And delivering the thing, and then the rest, you give the government to people. Otherwise, you're going to be like a communist government, whereby everything is governmentalized.
You have already classified these people.
No, because some of them are classifying themselves as communists.
No.
Hopefully, someone like Khalifa is saying socialism. But when you talk to people like Kex and people like Sidia, what the policies they're trying to bring in is more.
Just want to respond on the issue of. Not sidelining their allies. They did not sideline them. It's just like in picking, you cannot pick everybody. Just like you pick in your football team. So you only need 11 players. So the rest.
Sometimes you have better players.
Sometimes you have better players who are on the bench.
Who doesn't even make the first step.
So
and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But bringing people like in our Gambia government here, we have so many technocrats who are not taking political positions. They are sitting in the sideline, so that they can get into ministerial position. That's not, we know that all these technocrats that people are talking about, most of them are politicians. So, and that's a good thing. We cannot encourage people to be sitting on the fence, so that if any government come, they will go there.
What
All right.
What they also did was to to allow the multinationals companies to pay their taxes through the Senegalese treasury.
Well, they know everything about tax, so I'm not surprised because
they know tax collectors.
Under the previous government, they were paying it.
They will know all the loopholes. They will
pay tax-based economy. Unfortunately,
they were paying it to the French treasury, and now Bassirou Diomaye Faye told them to pay it in Senegal instead.
Okay. I know they will know everything about tax evasion, tax dodgers. What do you make of PASTEF, the approach? I mean, I have been thinking that this is the philosophy that Doi wanted for our country for a long, long time. It looks like the Senegalese have embraced it to some extent.
Absolutely. Maybe Doi one is more even...
more refined,
more glorified,
they
glorify and more progressive even actually, and they were very
so why didn't they were they not able to capture then the hearts of the people if they have such a refined agenda?
Actually that's the issue of if you look at this whole issue of PASTEF and these other things, you will have so many factors that contributed towards their success. You will see that when things get harder, the civil society of Senegal embraced PASTEF. They came on board and actually support PASTEF to see that what is happening to Ousmane Sonko by jailing him, by going to his house, arresting him, broken his glasses, should stop. So they galvanize and say that this has to end. Our citizens, and this is what actually we don't have in the Gambia. I don't even see a serious civil society in this country. Actually, I always keep on saying that we have seen similar things when Doi defined the banning of political parties. There was no civil society that came out in support of Doi. When Khalifa went out for the witchcraft where fundamental rights people.
No, they did. People talked about it. Even the international bodies, they went into court. That's why they released Khalifa. Now they cannot.
But he led the initiative to challenge the powers.
No, but they can only intervene when you're going to court, when you're going to prison and going to court. That's what civil societies do. They cannot take sides.
All right. Listen,
maybe he was young then, but I was.
So they went into the streets.
No, when they defined the political party ban, that was 1994.
That was fundamental
September
rights.
1994.
He was.
So all these things happen, and also the contributing factor is Senegal. Even though they are French national-speaking country, but if you see the language in terms of how these people communicate, until like it's look like the entire name, because when they are campaigning, they speak, and almost Senegal, everybody speak Wolof. Irrespective of your tribe and
that's the
all of them. That's
the
the
lingua
so they have what unique language. So when these people talk, everybody gets it.
So what language do you think the Doi should speak or the other people should speak?
You need to understand
the lingua franca.
It's asking me how they succeeded.
Our situation is different. We cannot have Mandinka or Wolof.
I'm not saying that. Unless you wait until I land, you'll not understand. He's saying how they succeeded. In trying to
they had lingua franca
because they have a unique language.
And Khalifa is struggling with Mandinka.
I'm not saying that.
But Khalifa understands very well Mandinka.
And if he understands, it's better than he speaks.
Yeah, his Mandinka is very good.
So what I'm trying to say is, so there was this unique language, so there was no barrier of communication between them and the electorates. You understand? But here we have this a different language that we have, and people identify themselves the moment you speak their language. They associate themselves than you or sympathize with you than somebody who is away from their language. But Senegal, you will not, because all of them, they have this one unifying language. And this is also a contributing factor when it comes to the decision how our people vote. Is it bigger? And also, the lack of awareness, political education, like how it takes Senegal, because Senegal in their educational system, they have what we call citizens education. The moment they are into election, the moment the election finishes, there is nation building until next election. So they have that sense of nationalism in them, which is actually lacking in our school system. You'll ask a Gambian, an issue of a nation, he will look at whether his political party or a group of people that he associates themselves are in line with that idea. As far as they are not even it's a national issue, they want to take side. If Czechs will come today and say, let's champion a movement for at least in 2021 for us to have what we call feed ourselves, they will not identify as Czechs as a party, the message that I'm saying, but which political parties. So he's trying to play the political score for his political party. So they are not looking at because that sense of nationalism, what he's saying, is what is actually lacking. But if not, we could have this, because Gambia is a republic state that we gain our republic. Senegal up to today, they are not republic. They are still colonized by, they are still controlled.
Come on, that's cheap.
Let me learn. In Gambia, we own ourselves, now, like presently, Senegal, even their economy, even their reserve, it has to be deposited in Senegal, France, and they determine how much should be withdrawn per year. And up to today, that is what is happening. That's why when Guinea took over, they stopped that, and that's why France withdraw all their people in Guinea. And we are seeing maybe this Sonko people, when they settled down, maybe they were things. So now they want to own themselves. That's why even their currency, but Gambia, we determine ourselves. Nobody is controlling us to dictate how our political. But even in their cabinet, they have some foreign control over how some decisions are.
So we should have we could have achieved more progress.
Senegal could have learned from us. Because tell me, what has Pastef done? If you have to be honest, no. For me, it's not even I was not Doy, I would have said it. Tell me what Pastef have said that you didn't hear from Doy.
Cheap popularity. Cheap propaganda. They didn't go and say that, listen, let us have nothing to do with the colonialist power. So cheap. That was responsible.
But Doy has always been advocating for independence and self-sustain.
And self-determination
and that translates.
Self-determination and independence.
Until Halifa,
Doy has been attacking the policies of the Bretton Woods institutions
in favor of China.
Doy had been consistently critical of these aids and these loans that comes with conditions.
You have to provide solutions.
Of course, they said we should concentrate on the productive base of the economy.
And what is the product?
They have one thing in common, that is sovereignty.
Sovereignty.
Okay, others will tell you that, okay, these people have sacrificed to go to jail, they were ready.
So did Halifa.
So did Onsenu Dabo.
We are talking about similarity.
That was it. So if you see the same Gambians who refuse to put Doy into office or put UDP into office,
and now clamoring for
popularity.
Oh, come on,
we need to come out and talk about English. Remove the English from our thing. We don't want English language. People will support you.
Okay, now what influence?
Finally, that's why he chose to go to the development.
That's why he only see there is cheap popularity.
Now, since you don't agree that first step really is just exactly as what their theory is, just exactly what Doy has been advocating in the Gambia. Now, let's have one word from each other. For you to close the program now, because it's getting to 3 o'clock.
We haven't talked about homicide. Maybe we can talk about that quickly.
I thought I could get the police next week for us to do that. What is Gambia what can Gambia learn from the Pastef and Senegal, sir, in a very few words?
Yeah, so many things, particularly in terms of partnership, in integration, in the economy, in development, in so many things. You see, Senegal has built what they call TGV, that is the high-speed train. They have built under Macky Sall, they have built BRT, that is high-speed bus, electronic bus. Also under Macky Sall, they have realized the construction of an oil industry, that is petroleum company. All these, and Senegal has an agreement of a transfer of knowledge, transfer of expertise. Like those people who came, like the French who came and built that high-speed train, that competence is there because they have the engineers, they are Senegalese, the technocrats, they are Senegalese. If you go to the oil company also, the engineers, the masoners, the carpenters, the all the laborers, they are Senegalese, and they have the expertise.
It's something we can learn from.
Yes.
So let's mark it government.
So under the,
Not
yes,
Pastef.
yes,
But
under
he's been fair enough. He said it.
Yes.
So from Pastef, because
so now,
what can we learn from Pastef?
yes. So now, what we can learn from Pastef is
Pastef is two weeks old in power.
yes. So now, what we can just
Don't
do,
say Senegalese,
what we can just do is to collaborate with Senegal. The amount of money that it took the Senegalese people to build those high-speed train, those the oil company, which we also need because we also have wells, that are already been identified. Malo, Jabo, Samo, etc. We call them. So
oil wells, yes.
They are here. So we discuss with the Pastef government, to transfer that power to us so that we can, also exploit our natural resources in order to make our economy stronger, in order to have high-speed trains and, electronic buses, in order to have a fluid and different way of transportation in the country.
Okay.
I think these are just...
Kejau, what can we learn from, as Gambians, from the Pastef experience?
I think the most important thing is that the maturity in politics. When Pastef won the election, we saw Amadou came out to say that, I consider defeat. He didn't even wait for the electorate.
At some point, he was expected to come much earlier, but he delayed.
Yeah, but he didn't. But he didn't still delay it, and he didn't come to the press and said this election was stolen. This is So this is maturity, and the way they handed over power. We couldn't do that into that. They had a lot to learn from us by the way we transfer power. But then from since then we have deteriorated. So we have a lot to learn from that maturity. We have to put country first always. And the Barrow government have a lot to learn from Macky Sall. As this guy said, all those good things that he's mentioned are done by Macky Sall. So, we have a lot to learn and then we should be learning from that. And when it came to handing over power, people were saying he's not going to do it. He did it. He helped kick Yahya Jammeh from here. So we have a lot to learn from that. And the maturity in politics is outstanding. And so we have also to learn, as Kek said, to learn from the citizenship part. When you speak, when Barrow government comes and they do something good, like when they talk to the religious power, you have to come out and say, this is not politics. I am willing to say that this is a good policy. So when you start doing that, when you talk, people will respect you. Otherwise, they will say, oh, he must be talking about that because nothing is good for this government. So those are things that we should learn, I think.
Cax, finally, what do we get from the Pastef experience?
Yeah, actually, number one, we need to learn from Sonko and his people to know that the young people should know that everything is not in the government that you have to subdue, or you need to go to the executive to work with the government. That should be your interest, which we have seen in our country, where people will just go. They will say, I have an idea that is different from this ruling government, but the next minute, the moment the election is passed, you didn't win, you went and joined those people. So what you are actually telling us is totally like you believe in how much you can get to that power, and how you can get there doesn't matter. But Sonko and these people were very patient. They lose their job. They know that it's not good. I have a project, and people ideology, and this is what is lacking in this world. People don't believe in ideology. People just want to go to power or get close to power, and the young people should understand that, because we have seen so many young people that are actually cross-carpeting, leaving a vast majority of their young supporters behind them for just their personal interest, because they want to just have that position at this thing. So they need to learn that it has to take sacrifice. It has to take jailing. It has to take financial losses, and which Sonko has sacrificed. Jamai has sacrificed. They lose their job at the tax. They went to jail. All of them. 2 weeks before the election, Jamai was free. But he believed in something, and when you believe in something, you must see the results. Because at the end of the day, you keep on saying that, but here they will tell you that what you have been doing for 20 years, if it doesn't work, you have to change. It's not, you don't believe in the ideology. Because for me, I will support until the day they have changed their programs and policy, what they have been preaching. Because I believe in the ideology, not the personality, not to be in power, how quickly I should be in power. But I believe in the ideology that is preaching. And when we see politics like that, we will save the field. But when we see that politics is a way of enriching ourselves, young people, everybody want to go to close to power so that you will drive the pickups, you will drive the Pajeros, we'll have a problem. And this is what is affecting this country for 50
Or change the policy that those people have.
Kemesseng Sanneh, blogger and activist, Kejau Touray from Namsita. You know, I need to learn how to get
Namasita. You know, Namasita. You know the baobab tree.
Oh, Namasita.
Namasita, yeah. So
Sita Namaringo.
Yeah, Sita Namaringo. We have that in where I come from, Nyamina Kuda.
Okay.
We have a place that we call Namasita. So, you know, that's where it came from.
Okay, right. Yeah. Thank you very much. And Professor Momodou, thank you very much for all of you for your thoughts on this edition of the Brunch. We will be back next week. Goodbye for now.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yours.
Gambia is proud to host the 15th OIC Summit on the 4th and 5th May 2024, the second largest gathering of world leaders, kings, presidents, rulers, prime ministers, along with delegates from 57 member countries of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation will gather in our beloved nation for this historic event. The theme of the summit is enhancing unity and solidarity through dialogue for sustainable development. It's a platform to foster cooperation, promote peace and drive sustainable development across the Ummah and the world at large. We call on all Gambians to unite and support the government as it strives to host a memorable and successful event. Let's showcase our hospitality, culture and the beauty of the Gambia to the world. Join us in making history. Let's stand together, united as one, to ensure the 15th OIC Summit in the Gambia is an event to remember. Together, we can make a difference.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Karaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980-8483, 340-9400 or 635-9906.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions. including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and approved services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited, or email us at info@germanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051, or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Germano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Germano Money Transfer.
Agada.
Mbijan aganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyenje.
Okay. What's that? Nsila ID soto.
Ah, sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Ah,
mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Ah, jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Ah. Birim koyna fo kato
bari si kodo kino kato nim fo bolong blabe
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam
ha
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol nka kodo kiya bele kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw jannom number 1 di nyonta andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi mani domorol dir fana beteat Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je
wo moyo diat
apelenta
baraka ya lafta nyelan kendol e bina
yalo bu kanila ko la baraka
yalo ndel ciosano lo
baraka